This is VOA News. I'm Joe Ramsey. After Sunday's vote in Turkey, political momentum seems to be with President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan, despite the incumbent falling just short of the required absolute majority to avoid a runoff against challenger Kemal Kilicdaroglu. Dorian Jones reports from Istanbul.
Voters on Sunday also voted in parliamentary elections, which saw Erdoğan's coalition predicted to secure a comfortable absolute majority. That, analysts say, gives Erdoğan a decisive advantage in the upcoming presidential runoff on May the 28th. Kilicdaroglu faces a political mountain in the forthcoming campaign, with the political momentum appearing to shift toward Erdoğan. Dorian Jones of VOA News, Istanbul.
Thailand's Progressive Move Forward Party claimed victory in the country's election Monday after a stunning result that decimated military-backed parties which have ruled the kingdom for nearly a decade. A massive surge for the Move Forward in Sunday's ballot left it on course to be the biggest party, followed by its rival opposition. Thai voters turned out in record numbers to live a brutal verdict on former coup leader prime minister who has been blamed for the economic stagnation and crackdown on rights. Ukraine on Monday hailed its first substantial battlefield advances for 6 months as President Volodymyr Zelensky won pledges of new long-range drones in Britain to aid to a haul of Western arms for a counteroffensive against Russian invaders. Since last week, the Ukrainian military has started to push back Russian forces in and around the embattled city of Bakhmut. Follow us on the VOA mobile app. This is VOA News. U.S. House of Representatives Speaker Kevin McCarthy says there's been no progress on debt ceiling talks before another meeting tomorrow with President Biden and other congressional leaders. AP Washington correspondent Sagar Magani reports.
White House and congressional staffers met through the weekend, and while President Biden yesterday refused to say how they're doing, McCarthy did.
There is no movement.
And he's concerned since a bill to lift the debt ceiling needs to move through the House and Senate before the government reaches its borrowing limit.
You've got to have something done by this weekend, and we are nowhere near any of that.
Time is also narrowing, with the president set to depart this week for the G7 summit in Japan.
We are still planning to leave as scheduled.
National Security Council spokesman John Kirby, a day after the president said he thinks a deal will be struck. Sagar Magani, Washington.
Kenyan President William Ruto says his government failed to protect the more than 200 members of a Christian cult who starved themselves to death. Mohammed Yusuf reports from Nairobi.
In a joint interview with Kenyan news media on Sunday, President William Ruto took responsibility for the government's failure to prevent the tragic deaths.
I am taking responsibility that as president, this should not have happened.
The leader of Good News International Church, Pastor Paul Mackenzie, is currently detained in Mombasa, facing charges of preaching dangerous beliefs that lead to the deaths of his followers. Mohammed Yusuf for VOA News, Nairobi.
A former civilian employee at a U.S. Army facility in South Korea has been arrested on charges of receiving $400,000 in kickbacks from military contractors, federal prosecutors in Manhattan said on Monday. The 62-year-old was responsible for overseeing construction contracts at the facility from 2017 to 2021. Prosecutors said he made sure contracts for equipment such as blast doors designed to protect the Army made sure to pay him kickbacks. U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland honored fallen law enforcement officers at a memorial service as part of National Police Week. AP correspondent Julie Walker reports.
Outside the U.S. Capitol, the names of the 443 officers were read. Attorney General Garland says he knows it's impossible to understand the grief and loss families feel.
So as we pay tribute to the law enforcement officers who sacrificed their lives in service to our country, we also honor the ongoing sacrifices by those they love the most.
One person Garland singled out, Capitol Police Officer Howard Lieben.
I'm Joe Ramsey, VOA News.
Thank you for watching. Can you do me a favor? Please leave a comment in the comment section below. That would really help. Thank you, and see you again soon.